Thank you, Jan. Tonight, we welcome the return of soprano Laura Strickling and pianist Daniel Schlosberg to the Levin Performance Studio. These two longtime collaborators were up for a Grammy Award last year, resulting from their ongoing project 40 at 40, which is all about expanding the classical song repertoire and the diversity of voices contributing to it. They call this evening's recital American Song Revolution. And maybe that's a good place to start this evening, Laura. First of all, welcome to both of you. It's great to have you back.
Thank you. Good
Thanks.
evening.
It's great to be here.
And the title, first of all, with a little R before the evolution. What's up?
It's a little cheeky.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I was looking at this as contemporary American art song. The earliest composed song in the program, I believe, is 1941. So we still consider these sort of contemporary American songs. But looking kind of back and then forward, we've got this evolution of what contemporary song is and can be. And then, you know, there's big thoughts happening, there's big ideas happening, and we're trying to kind of push the envelope. So I threw that little R in as an homage, a nod to the idea that we're trying to do new and exciting things.
It works for me, and we'll talk a lot more about the 40 at 40 project as we go along this evening. But let's talk first about these two songs. And I know for you, you make a point of making the poet as important as the composer. And the way you've listed the various selections throughout the evening proves that. It's always the composer / then the poet that contributed the text. But with respect to this first song we're going to hear, we're actually crediting a computer?
We are, and that's the irony. I always say that a song composition starts with the words. So we cannot ignore the writer of the words when we credit the creation of a song. It is a collaborative art form from the work of two artists.
Right.
And so Jim Matheson and I have worked together for a long time. And he wrote this song very late in my journey with commissioning songs. And so I have a ton of songs and I know what I have in hand. And I said, Jim, I really need more kinetic, exciting, fast songs. And because I have worked with him, I know he writes those kinds of songs very well. And so, you know, finding a poem that worked really well with exactly what I was asking for, he and I spent months digging through poetry, and we couldn't find anything. And one day he just got frustrated and went to Bard AI and typed in, I believe it was something like kinetic, explosive, exciting poem in the style of Edna St. Vincent Millay. And these were the words that came out, and it was actually quite perfect for exactly what we were hoping for. And so it's kind of one example of a way that we can use these new AI tools, but you know, at our own, it came out of his own creation. We knew what we wanted. It just kind of helped us along.
And speaking of the texts, we should mention that they are available for folks to view online.
Correct. I put them on my website. So if you go to laurastrickling.com, there's a tab that says WFMT. And if you click there, you can follow along with the program and the texts and translations.
All right, so the first song is James Matheson's The Stars Explode. Mm-hmm. And the second song is by Juhi Bansal, and she is a good friend of yours, yes. Correct? And actually, she's in some difficult times right now.
Yeah, her house was one of the ones that burnt down in the California wildfires 2 weeks ago. So I've been running a GoFundMe to try to build support for her, but also just to show her how big the love for our community that our community has for her. And I've just been so amazed to see the people I know, and actually not surprised, because that's what I know about musicians, is that we show up for each other. And this is actually one of the first songs that was commissioned for 40 at 40. It's the first track on our 40 at 40 album. And the poet is a good friend of mine from the island that I lived on for 9 years, St. Thomas. I introduced Julie Baber to Juhi Bansal, and they were a match made in heaven, and they have continued to collaborate since they wrote this song.
Okay, and since we brought up the GoFundMe, how does one do that?
If you go to GoFundMe and type in Juhi Bansal, her name, you'll find it.
Okay. Let's start with these two songs then. The Stars Explode by James Matheson and some computer somewhere, and Not Quite Stars by Juhi Bansal, and the text by Julie Baber.
The stars explode in the heavens like fireworks in the night. Their light like diamonds scattered in the dark, so bright. They dance and shimmer like jewels in the sky, a symphony of light that makes the heart to sigh. What a wonder it is to see the stars explode and paint the heavens with their lights bright glow. A burst of beauty like a daughter's own, a symphony of stars in the darkness bold. The time will come as it has done and passed, where songs our eyes sing to one another, most turn kissing most other things. For it is no victory to last. It is no victory to stand stubborn on the path, refusing that parting of mouths, releasing of hands. It is no victory to refuse our promised lands. Even as the gloaming begins to spark, our messenger of the dark distant lullaby back. We flit our tiny battles, our storming tiny spars, free to choose our night path. We who are not yet ashes, not quite stars, we lightning but singers, we fireflies sing, ignite, we
Not Quite Stars, written in 2021 by Juhi Bansal. The text by Julie Babber. Before that, The Stars Explode from 2022 by James Matheson. And the text for that, written by an AI program. Both sung by soprano Laura Strickling with pianist Daniel Schlosberg, and opening tonight's concert called American Song Revolution. And next, Laura, I guess we come to the oldest songs on the program.
Correct.
Essentially.
Yeah. I wanted to go back. I wanted to look back and see where we came from to understand better where we are. And so I wanted to tell the story of a relationship with one song from 4 composers. And so we take a little relationship journey through from 1941 to, I believe it's 1971, of songs by Florence Price, Undine Smith-Moore, Samuel Barber, and Sven Lekberg.
And they are entitled Night, Nocturne, I Am in Doubt, and The Spring and the Fall. Again, Laura Strickling and Daniel Schlosberg.
Night comes, oh Madonna, clad in scented blue. Rose the spring of a year, in the spring of a year, I walked the road beside my dear. The trees were black where the bark was wet. I see them yet in the spring of the year. He broke me a bough of the blossoming peach that was out of the way and hard to reach. In the fall of a year, in the fall of a year, I walked the road beside my dear. The rocks went up with a raucous trail. I hear them still in the fall of the year. He laughed at all I dared to praise and broke my heart in little ways. Year be springing, oh year be falling, the bark will trip and the birds be calling. There's much that's fine to see and hear in the spring of a year, in the fall of a year. 'Tis not love's going hurt, my dears, but that it won't, but that it won't, but that it went
In that set of four songs, we heard first Night, music by Florence Price, the text by Bessie Mail, then Nocturne by Samuel Barber, the text by Frederick Prokosch, followed by I Am in Doubt by Undine Smith Moore, with the text by Florence Hines Willete, and finally The Spring and the Fall by Sven Lekberg, with poetry by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Music performed by soprano Laura Strickling and pianist Daniel Schlossberg. And their recital, American Song Revolution, will continue in a moment, but we'll take a break. Jan? Thank you, Jan. Back in the studio with Laura Strickling and Daniel Schlossberg. And we are about to hear what essentially is the world premiere of a set of songs, although two of these songs have been performed before. It is music which is based essentially on Homer's Odyssey. But before we actually get to that, since we're going to hear some music which you essentially have made happen, Laura, let's talk about how all this began back in 2019, the 40 at 40 project, and what your ideas were and how it all came together.
I got a very unconventional start to my career and a very late start to my career. So I didn't have my first professional singing gig until I was 31 years old.
Really?
And I went to summer programs around that time where I met composers. And I could not get opera companies to hear me for an audition to save my life because I was so old. But I could sing as much song and new music as I wanted, and composers became my best friends. So I've always felt like I owed a debt of gratitude to my composer community, because I don't think that I would be a singer today if it weren't for them championing me at this early point in my career. And so in 2019, I was thinking ahead to my upcoming recital seasons and thinking I've premiered so many things, but I've never actually commissioned something. So maybe I should commission something. But then when I started writing down a list of names, there wasn't any way I could possibly take it down to just one. And so I thought, well, what if I just ask all of them for one song and see how it goes? And it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And it has been an amazing journey for the last 5 years. It's a Leviathan, because now it was supposed to just be a concert where I sang the 40 songs I'd commissioned for my 40th birthday in 2021. But as we all know, a pandemic happened, so I had to be creative, and so it became an album first. And now it's going to be an anthology, a published anthology. And there are so many amazing things that have come out of this that I could never, ever have planned or expected at the beginning.
Now, did you have specific rules or ideas involved when you went to these composers, or was it just a free-for-all?
So it has evolved. At the very beginning, I went to each one of them and said, what is something that you've been dying to write that you've been looking for an excuse to do it? Because I'm not going to put... it could be any language. The only thing is that it needs to be for soprano and piano. That seemed like a unifying goal. And so Cecilia is one of those composers who I said, what are your goals? What can I help you accomplish?
This is Cecilia Livingston.
Cecilia Livingston, the composer for the next cycle. And she said, I wrote Penelope, and then I wrote Calypso, these women from Homer's Odyssey, and I've been wanting to complete the triptych with Circe. Could I compose that third song for you? And I said, yes, that sounds like the best plan, because it brings something that you've wanted to do to life, and then I can champion it. I want to do that for you. So this is actually the world premiere. No one has ever heard Circe before. This is the world premiere of Circe, but it's also the world premiere of these 3 songs being a complete triptych and being performed together.
Okay. And tell us about the poet.
Sure. So Duncan McFarlane is Cecilia's longtime poet partner. So they work together a lot. Many of the things that Cecilia writes, he's the librettist for. And so they have a lot of things that look back at stories and myths we know and try to observe them in a way that we have not before. So in this particular song cycle, we have 3 women from Homer's Odyssey, and they're telling their own story, and they're telling it in a way that you probably have not considered. Calypso is imagined as, I think Cecilia puts it, it's the melding of coloratura and scat. There are jazz harmonies throughout the cycle, and she really tries to bring a modern sensibility both to the music and to the way we understand the stories.
Okay. Let's hear them. Calypso, Circe, and Penelope. And as a cycle, it's called Salt Air, and the texts are by Duncan McFarlane in the first 2, and Cecilia in the last. Laura Strickling and Daniel Schlosberg.
got something on my mind. There's really nothing left to say or reason vain against the tides. It's nothing, never mind, it's just a wish. That if it's not too much, if it's all right, some night, some night, I'd like to walk out in the rain again. Come home. Come home to sleep, to drift and dream. Off to a world elsewhere with you, with you, with you. Where it keeps raining all the time. He eats all he can of the fat of the land, chewed and swallowed. He eats all he can of the fat of the land, chewed and swallowed. He drinks as if one can erase all his crimes. Sweet luxury, sweet luxury, sweet luxury. So men are made of what they eat. Their bodies composed of the flesh they consume. Beef, pork, poultry, the geese, pigs, the cattle they raise. Their clothes informed by appetite. The endless taste is always right. We call them dogs and goats and swine, transforming men of every kind. Devolve your hands a little fur. Become the beasts you always were. The very same as what you eat, as what you eat, as what you eat. We know that the most man can be is a pet, languid and soft, languid and soft, docile I
You just heard the world premiere of the song cycle Salt Air by Cecilia Livingston. The first time those three songs have been performed together. Calypso, Circe, and Penelope. The texts by Duncan McFarlane for the first two, and Cecilia Livingston provided the text for the final one. Sung by soprano Laura Strickling with pianist Daniel Schlossberg. They are our guests tonight on Live from WFMT. And I was just thinking, Laura, as I was watching you perform, there are basically two places where a singer can perform, and they are either on an opera stage with all the trappings or in recital. And for me, at least, it's much more satisfying to watch two fine artists all by themselves create everything that's needed in the moment for a particular song. And I wondered if you, not that I want you to give up any opera gigs, but do you have a preference?
I've always felt a special affinity for song. And if I could put it into words, why? I think it's because in the course of an evening, I can present 20 songs instead of one, right? And I'm singing the words directly to the audience. So there's a real connection between performer and audience member that just doesn't happen in opera. And I'm very lucky. I get to do opera, and I get to do oratorio, and I get to do chamber music, and I'm really thankful because that I love living, as Daniel says, a kaleidoscopic musical life. But there's nothing quite like the connection between performer and audience when you have to look them in the eye and say things. I pick songs because the words mean something to me. And I can't sing a song if I wouldn't want the words to come out of my mouth. So if I've chosen it, there's a reason. And I want, there's a vulnerability there to say, these mean something to me. And you might come up with your own reason for why they mean something to me. And what if it's the wrong reason? But I always come back to the songs, I chose them for me, but every audience member hears them with different ears and they mean something to them. There was a song from my first album, Confessions, and Confessions came about because of this song, because every time I sang it, people would come up to me afterwards and say, I have never heard someone speak about the experience of feeling uncertain about myself in a room in the way that this song did. When you hear words sung, they impact you in a way that they just don't if they're spoken. So it's a real power, and I hope a gift, but it's a gift to me, from me to my audiences.
Yeah. Well, and it also takes great skill to be able to pull that off successfully, and also a great collaboration. And I guess I wanted to ask how the two of you found each other, because clearly this is working.
Well, I've been speaking a lot, so why don't you take a crack at that one, Daniel?
Well, we met through our mutual friend, my colleague at Notre Dame, who's actually also sung here before, Stephen Lancaster.
Right.
I want to just piggyback on what you were asking about art song, if I may. It's that intimacy. Similarly, like I love going to Bruckner 9, Mahler, and all that stuff at the CSO. But there's something equally compelling as hearing the Bach chaconne on the solo violin, and that interpersonal connection that you can make with an individual that I think applies to the art song genre too. And but getting back to Laura and we've been performing for like a decade now, and it's been a real privilege to explore this area of the repertoire. I really focused more in my art song journey earlier on, the core Schubert and Schumann and composers like that whom I adore. But Laura's opened this whole new world to me, including these next Previn songs, which we've done many times, but I truly think they're some of the best sort of modern art song out there, and Previn has this uncanny harmonic language that's got some modal jazz in it and also just some free sort of contemporary atonality, but basically very friendly to the ear, but in a very kind of sophisticated way. And I think another composer, friend of mine, Stanley Walden, said every composer has some Dickinson songs,
Right.
or should have some, and that's true. And she is somewhat ubiquitously set, but I think Previn really has a special angle here.
Let's hear those songs, now that you so nicely introduced them for us, Daniel. And they are, as imperceptibly as Grief, Will There Really Be a Morning, and Good Morning Midnight. 3 Dickinson songs written in 1999 by Andre Previn.
As imperceptibly as grief, the summer lapsed away. Time imperceptible at last to seem like perfidy. A quietness distilled as twilight long begun, or nature spending with herself sequestered afternoon. The dusk drew earlier in, the morning fire shone, a courteous yet harrowing grace, as guest that would be gone. east is red. The hills have a way that puts the heart abroad. You're not so fair. Midnight, I chose please take a little girl.
Three Dickinson songs. Settings of Emily Dickinson by Andre Previn. As imperceptibly as grief, will there really be a morning? And Good Morning, Midnight. Our guests tonight are Laura Strickling and pianist Daniel Schlossberg. And as the Monty Python folks used to say, now for something completely different. And we're going to have a little bit of comic relief in this next set. And there will be 3 songs in it. And the middle song happens to be by a gentleman WFMT listeners know rather well. His name is Robbie Ellis, and he's standing right here.
What am I doing in the studio at 9 o'clock at night?
I don't know, but we're not paying you for this.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to pay. I did get in with my swipe card though. Yes, I met. Well, first of all, I met Daniel around the traps at different chamber music events, and Daniel once saved an introductions recording session on 12 hours notice for an indisposed pianist. Thank you for that. And so then I noticed there was an album coming out with a singer I'd never heard of. Okay, I knew the pianist, didn't know the singer. Who's Laura Strickling, who lives on the Virgin Islands but maintains a career here. And then mutual acquaintances put us in touch. We finally met at a mutual friend's house concert, Elizabeth Schumann. And I said, "Oh yes, you're Laura, blah blah blah, meet, etc." And we got talking about your next album idea. And I said, I'm looking for a title song for the album. Can I ask what the title is? I was like, okay, the title will be Again. So I had watched the concert and went home, and then on the drive home, turning around, how can I wait? So when Laura was talking about the synthesis between text and music, how the text always comes first. I'm a little bit different. In my case, I have a hook for most songs I write where the text, the melody, and the style all come together in this nice little kernel, and then writing the rest of the song it's a puzzle beyond there. Lyrics and music. And so I turned it around. There's Again, there's the other pronunciation Again, which I use sometimes, and that's 2 possible things that you can rhyme with, and having fun with that. And the nice thing about being your own lyric writer is you don't have to ask permission to change any words.
Okay. Well, your song, as I said, will be in the middle of this set, and there are 2 others. So, Laura, tell us about Buckingham Fountain by David Sisko.
Well, I really think it's important that people laugh. And there are not enough good, funny songs in the repertoire. And so for the composers who I knew had the ability and the desire to write a funny song, I would say, whatever you want. But if it's funny, you get 10 extra points. And so David Sisko is a wonderful composer. He's based in New York. And he said, I have this amazing idea for a song cycle based on Yelp reviews.
What?
Could I write one of the songs for your project and then complete the cycle? And he has, and I'm going to premiere it next year in New York. But he and I spent weeks pouring through Yelp reviews and other they weren't all Yelp, but they were reviews from like National Park Service websites and things like that. But it's basically everyone's got an opinion, and here are some of them in this cycle. But this is the one that was Chicago-centric, and so I decided it was perfect for this audience.
Okay.
And then, of course, Robbie is my wonderful friend who handed me the song again last summer, and it just happened to be the week of my 20th anniversary. And you'll hear in the words why that meant something to me. And then when my mother came to the premiere, she was celebrating on the same day her 47th anniversary. And, you know, it is a funny song, and it's not the kind of song necessarily that would move someone to tears, unless you are my mother, looking back on a 47-year marriage and feeling these words very deeply. And so I told Robbie, I think you made my mother cry in all the best ways, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm 3 years into a marriage, so I got a little bit of way to go.
But you got it so well. So it's like a funny song that actually is quite poignant and meaningful, especially to me, where I was.
And
if I could chime in about the last of the set, the
Yes.
Thanks a Latte, the text by Caitlin Vincent so wittily captures sort of third wave cafe culture, and it's an adorable text, and Lori Laitman has said it exquisitely, and it's one of our favorites, and we always jump at the chance to do it.
Yeah, Buckingham Fountain, and again, are new, and Thanks a Latte is one of the very first songs that was commissioned for 40 at 40, and it truly has become an audience favorite, so I hope you enjoy it.
Okay.
I'll hold you, Buckingham Fountain. Seriously beautiful. One of my favorite spots in the city. I literally felt like I could sit there for hours watching the fountain. The backdrop of Chicago behind the fountain is so gorgeous. If you are visiting Chicago, please do not forget to stop here, or you'll regret it every second of every minute of your life. Yep, it's a fountain. Not much more to say about it. Historic, iconic, Chicago landmark. Okay, sure. But at the end of the day, there are so many more exciting things to do. See or take it on your visit to Chicago. This one is just a fountain. Maybe I'm not the right kind again and again and again and again. The way you hold the duvet again, again and again. The way your knuckles go crack again, again and again and again. The coffee mug in the sink, we have a dishwasher there again, again and again and again and again. The way you follow behind, you're driving 75. My nerves are jangling on the tail of that van again, again and again and again and again. We snuggle 7 a.m. again and again. The way you bring me my tea again and again. And when I'm stuck in a rut, you are my cheerleader. Woo! Go team, go you. When you shout, honey, I'm home, like Fred Flintstone, it's corny and lame. Nonetheless, all the same, I want to hear it again. Let me hear it again. If somebody made me do it over again, all over again, it's totally plain that I would choose you again and again and again. 10 times out of 10. Again and again. Again and again and again and again. Today's the day. I'm taking a stand, making an impression, changing my coffee order. Every day it's the same, my standard, regular habit. Every day at the hipster cafe, every day with a cute barista. For 3 whole seconds I have his complete attention. Not to mention his dreamy smile. But every day I waste it on routine. You aren't what you eat, but what you order, and I'm predictable, forgettable. But not today. Today I'll be spontaneous, complex. Today, you'll wonder what I do, who I am, where I'm going. Today I'll order a macchiato, edgy and stylish and chic, or maybe a cappuccino, peppy and frothy and fun. A flat white to show that I travel, a long black to show I'm well read. I need not too high strung. What's the message in non-fat or skinny? No foam, extra whip-light ice. My keep cup is full of potential for a drink that is quintessentially me. This is my moment. I'm next in line. Ready with my order, and there he is in a beanie, brewing and foaming and grinding, never minding my racing heart. He turns to me with a smile, turns to me and says, the usual. Uh-huh.
We heard David Sisko's Buckingham Fountain first in that set, and it's texts coming from Yelp reviews, Buckingham Fountain, and then after that, Robbie Ellis's Again, and finally we heard Laurie Laitman's song Thanks a Latte with a text by Caitlin Vincent. You're listening to soprano Laura Strickling and pianist Daniel Schlosberg, and they will be back in a moment. But right now, here is Jan. Thanks, Jan. We're back in the studio with Laura Strickling and Daniel Schlosberg. And Laura, you mentioned earlier that the 40 at 40 project kept expanding, and there was one CD. Will there be more?
Yes, we recorded the first half of the next CD last summer,
Okay.
and we're going to record the second half, and hopefully the next CD will be out shortly thereafter. It's so hard to fit these recording projects in between the actual work I'm supposed to be doing. So we kind of sneak in our moments here and there.
And you folks are going to be doing a recital at Notre Dame soon,
On
right?
Sunday, February 22nd
February 2nd, this coming Sunday, yes,
at
the
4 p.m.
DeBarlo Performing Arts Center at Notre Dame, where I teach. So,
And how does one get tickets for that?
yeah, if you go to performingarts.nd.edu, they'll have all the info there.
Okay, very good. And it's an easy trip from Chicago? No problem.
Yes, I've made it a couple times
Just
in
a
the last
few.
20 years.
Yeah. And the next music we have is the only set that's not in English tonight.
Correct.
Tell us what we're going to hear next.
So Rinaldo Moya is a great friend of mine, and and we he asked me to record this next cycle for an upcoming album of his, and it's in Spanish, and Rosy Evelyn Lima is the poet, and these songs use different animals that are indigenous to Mexico to kind of stand in as like metaphors for the immigrant experience, and then the last one, Si hay futuro, is about, you know, kind of wishes for the future, like what this person hopes for the future.
All right. Let's hear this music then by Rinaldo Moya.
Navegadora de tierras ancestrales, conexión prístina entre el suelo y el universo, mujer serpiente, lengua bifurcada, que pronuncia Trasparente presencia rutilante, eres la única muerte que promete alas. El despertar negro en aurora de la inmigración de Colorado en esta jaula de soles y lunas, en esta jaula forjada con franos azules y rojas. Eres la única muerte que promete alas. Eres la firmeza de un vuelo libertario. Mujer monarca, vienes cada año para llevarme contigo y sin saber por qué me ves cerrar los ojos y de los puños. Eres la única muerte que promete voy viviendo como poeta entre los cañones del presente. Voy viviendo como larva, enterrándome el camino como daga. Voy soñando con el néctar de las flores que crecen al otro lado de la frontera. Eres la única muerte que promete
We just heard the song cycle Migrare Mutare from 2022 by Reinaldo Moya. The texts by Rossi Evelyn Lima. There are just two songs left in this final set, and the first one is by Matthew Resio, whom we have with us this evening, and the song is called Every Lovely Shining Thing. He wrote it last year. Was it written specifically for Laura?
It was written specifically for Laura, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So I was also given the same question as, well, what do you want to do? You know, you could do whatever you want. And my response was, I want to work with a living poet. You know, I'm a big champion of living writers and being able to create something together. And I knew exactly who I wanted, and it was Jerry Dye, who is also a Chicago local. He's a playwright, writer, librettist, director. He does it all. Really just an amazing person. So hi, Jerry, out there. And Jerry was thoughtful enough to interview Laura and create a text that was just truly personal for Laura. It is a distillation of everything about her and her life and things that Laura thinks about. My favorite, the opening line is, how could I not give myself grace when grace pours out of everything? And the whole piece revolves around the idea that we have to be kind to ourselves. And when things move so fast and it can be overwhelming. There are these little reminders, and you'll see in the piece there are these moments of introspection where we give ourselves that time to process and give ourselves that grace, and then times where it feels busy in the music. There's a moment also where Laura talks to her child, and that's another reminder for her of this is a moment I can give myself grace, seeing my daughter and how special and important that is. So thank you, Jerry, for the wonderful text, and thank you for both of you for just being amazing performers. This is such a treat. I'm like a personal recital right now. So thank you.
It is. Laura, tell us about the final song we'll hear, too.
So the final song is one of the first 40 songs, and it's by a composer named H. Leslie Adams, who is probably the only one of the composers that I've never met personally.
He just passed away last year, actually.
He did, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure he was on this program. Memorial to him, because the reason I reached out to him is that I truly believe he is the master of melody and that there will never be anyone quite like him. And I was so infatuated with his songs that I wrote him a letter through his publisher, and just basically it was a love letter to his music. And I said, I know we don't know each other, but here's this thing I'm doing, and I would really like you to be involved. And at the time, he was over 90 years old. And he said he said he would, and then came back a few months later and said, I'm really struggling to get this done. And so what if I have this song that I wrote in 1999, and could I revise it? And like I never released it, was never premiered because I never felt happy about it. And could I revise it and make it perfect, make it what I always wanted it to be for your project? And I said, absolutely, for two reasons. One, I would say yes to anything he said, but B, it is quite possibly the most, I call it the pandemic aria. He wrote it, he sent it to me while I was stranded on an island in the Caribbean during the pandemic and couldn't leave. And it is basically an aria in want of an opera about solitude. And it is absolutely beautiful in its scope, and it feels like basically the theme of maybe just everything for me.
So these are two very personal songs for you.
Yeah, very much, yes.
Okay.
How could I not give myself grace? How could I not give myself grace when grace pours out of everything from every shining thing. Morning coffee, conversation, creature comforts, Christmas time. From swirling New York City sidewalks, the songs of night. Clementines from perfect patterns, waves, repeating voices swimming across the room. Grace has found me. Grace has found me. Grace has found me. to do. This life holds only so much life. Our lives hold so much life. I hear my daughter. I love you, Mommy. I place a kiss upon her head. Oh, could I not give myself grace? How could I not give myself grace when grace pours out of of passion
Song of Solitude, Alone, written in 1999 and revised in 2021 by H. Leslie Adams, the text by Nikos Valens. And before that, we heard the world premiere of Matthew Ressio's song, Every Lovely Shining Thing, written in 2024. Its text by Jerry Dye. And with that music, we've come to the end of American Song Revolution, a recital by soprano Laura Strickling and pianist Daniel Schlosberg. Many of the songs you heard tonight were commissioned by Laura, and a number of them appear on the 2024 Grammy-nominated CD by these artists on the Bright Shiny Things label called 40 at 40. And it's available wherever you get your music. These two artists will be in recital at the DeBartolo Center of the Performing Arts in South Bend, Indiana, on the Notre Dame campus, February 2nd. For more information on these two fine musicians, you can go to their respective websites, laurastrickling.com and danielschlossberg.com. Our thanks to Laura and Daniel for this wonderful program, and to composers Matthew Rescio and Robbie Ellis for being with us tonight as well. Thanks also to my co-producer Louise Frank, to our music producer Max Lebien, to our production associate Sam Genwaldi, and to WFMT's operations manager Gene Namirovsky. Next week, as our series continues, we will welcome as our guest pianist Kwang Hao Huang. I'm Kerry Frumkin, your host and producer for these broadcasts, inviting you to be with us again next Monday night at 8 for more music and performance live from WFMT.